So I truly believe that this is one of the most important XRP videos that you will ever watch. If you are relatively new to owning XRP, to investing in crypto, this is a very important video for you. Even if you've owned XRP and you've owned crypto for a while, still extremely important. I'm going to tell you a story. And in that story, I'm going to illustrate the power of owning XRP, the true financial success that you can have and will have by owning XRP and by owning crypto in this video. So with that, again, I want to tell you a story. If you're new to me, my name's Austin. I cover crypto every single day, and I cover XRP every day. And sometimes I feel it's important to remind you of things and to maybe show you things that you didn't really see or what have you. And so I kind of view that as my job. So with that, here's the story. Okay. I am 56 years old. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, I'm definitely not, in my 20s, so to speak. I've been around the block a few times. And by the way, the story was reignited by my private group, who I had 4 or 5 people in my private group remind me and tell me that when I told the story a while ago, it really inspired them to, in multiple ways. And so I was like, I think I needed to revisit this. Okay. So the story is this: being 56 years old, I'm going to draw a corollary between owning XRP and owning crypto to when the internet first evolved and first came on the scene. And you're like, what? How are you going to do that? You'll never hear another crypto influencer or YouTuber ever talk about this, because the majority of them were not around and not really seeing what was going on. And that's okay. And that's cool. I love that. Some people call me old man crypto, and I actually think that's awesome. Okay. So here's the corollary. So in the 1990s and early 2000s, the internet was first coming online and first becoming a thing. And if you weren't there at that time, the internet was viewed with a lot of fear, uncertainty, and a lot of people, even our mainstream media and everyday life, there was a lot of fighting it, and they didn't like it. They didn't know it. They didn't understand it. And they thought that it was, some people thought it was the end times and, all of those kind of things. But my point to you is there was a lot of fear around the internet. Okay. Just like there is a lot of fear around crypto and uncertainty, and a lot of people out there fighting crypto and trying to keep crypto down. You kind of see the corollaries and the parallel. So here's the story. So in the late 90s and early 2000s, my father had a retail brick and mortar truck installation shop. And what he did was he installed hitches and truck accessories and brake parts and things in trucks. And he had 2 brick and mortar stores in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I went out there in the Christmas time of 2000 to visit him. At the time, in the late 90s into early 2000, I was working for corporate America. I was in enterprise software sales. I actually hated what I did for a living, made good money, but I really hated what I did day to day for a living. And I went out there to visit him in 2000, and he had just started his first internet website. It took him about $30,000 to have it built. It was all built by hand, massive database, and he had this website. You can go look at the site today, by the way, hitchfinder.com, Hitchfinder, HITCHFINDER.com. That was one of his first websites. Okay. And so within that, he had just started the internet, started selling on the internet. And his original goal was to sell 9 or 10 a day. By the way, when I sold the business in 2008, that we ultimately grew together and started together, we were selling over 1,000 hitches a day and trailer parts and accessories and cargo carriers and all that kind of stuff. So I went out there to visit him in the Christmas, and inside of that, I saw an opportunity. The opportunity was, I said to my dad, I said, this is going to be bigger, and this thing's going to grow. And he was like, I don't think you're right. I think that, I want to sell 20 or 30 a day, because that'll help my profitability with my stores and all that kind of stuff. And so I said, Dad, I want in. I want to invest, because he was capital constrained. He had all his money tied up in his inventory for his stores. I said, let me invest. Let me have a piece of the internet business. I only wanted the internet business. And I said, I will come in and I will help grow this. I'll put in systems and operations and people and, market it and all that kind of stuff. And he thought I was crazy to walk away from a 6-figure a year job. Ultimately, we came to we came to an agreement, and we started working together. I moved out to Charlotte. I left my home in Dallas. I literally came back, locked it up, and went to Charlotte. And so here's part of that story. Inside of that, I started working, and my job that I gave myself was to grow the business. And one of the ways to grow the business was to bring on new manufacturers, people, other products we could sell, other truck accessory parts, all these other different lines. And so I was literally cold calling businesses every single day to try to get them to sell to us. And out of 10 calls made, 7 or 8 of them, the companies A, didn't want to talk to me, or B, would not work with me because I was from a .com, and I wasn't telling them that we owned brick and mortar stores, because to me that wasn't the relevant part of the business, right? I was trying to, so I would tell them, we're just a .com. They didn't want to work with us because they didn't understand the opportunity, and they feared at the end of the day the internet.